Hello, and welcome to this reading. My name is Moonflower, and I'm going to be bringing in today messages from the Divine, the Great Spirit. I've felt called to be doing these readings lately. There's a lot going on out there in the world, and I think a lot of us need a little bit of reassurance, especially since change in seasons or just the changes we see in life in general can take a toll on all of us. And I think right now, one of the biggest points we have is in healing our inner mothers, our inner children. And so today we are going to be looking at some of the greatest gifts that we each have in all of us that align with a higher power, more beautiful, and more vibrant than anything any of us can really hold in our hands. It exists in our hearts. It exists in how we see the world. And so this reading today, however you may find it, and I pray you find it well, and it speaks to your heart, we're going to be looking at some of the shadows that are coming up in the collective lately. And we're going to look at over here the ways the divine asks us to look within ourselves for that light. And this would be advice and guidance on how to handle any of this darker spiritual energy we see. And in times of change, yes, we're all going to see a lot of the darkness in ourselves and each other. It's going to come up to the surface to bring peace. But first, to clear out that chaos within us, we need to take a look at the shadow aspect of our hearts, how we've strayed from our own light. And so let's see what Spirit, the Divine God, is calling us for a higher purpose to release from within ourselves, and what shadows might be appearing in our own lives during this time of change. Let's see. Okay, so we have the Lover's card, clarified by the High Priestess. And what is this, Spirit? Yeah, okay. Emotional upheaval. I feel like I want to put this in reverse. We are disconnected from our light when we are faced with a lot of shadows. We are faced with darkness. We are stuck in this flight, fight, or freeze mode. And that drives us towards our darker desires and impulses out of survival, out of this pre-programmed egoic need to keep moving in the same direction because it's always worked before, hasn't it? It's always worked until it doesn't. And then when it stops working, what do? Well, we have a choice. We have a choice because we have a Lover's card. And this is our innermost vices coming at us to sort of bite us in the butt. And not in a good way. Not in a fun way. Oh, y'all, sometimes when I'm channeling that, I am, for full clarity at this point, I'm just straight up channeling. Like, this is how I normally speak. What you heard before, yeah, no. That was uh, one of my angels and one of my guides pretty much slowing me down, but you heard a little bit of me come through with that, but yeah. So that's exactly what I've been feeling. There's a lot of, with peace and love, a lot of egoic sort of impulses to keep driving in the same direction, keep wanting to go after what the world tells you and expects you to go after rather than what is in your highest light and soul. Because we're seeing a shadow aspect of this very intuitive card. Because what I've been noticing lately, definitely because we have this divine feminine aspect, that is, I read this, especially when we're dealing with shadows, as we're taking from a pool of stagnant water and we're reacting. And now reacting isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just how we react to our emotions. Our spirit keeps saying dishevelment. We are disheveled spiritually. And when we're in that state, we're not necessarily flowing, we're escaping. We're escaping to vices and things we think will help us because it's worked in the past. But then again, that's the thing with vices. They don't necessarily work. They're a temporary fix. They're not a complete lifestyle change. And when you're dealing with a lot of forward movement and a lot of change in society, and even in your own life, when you go from one season to another, one moment in time, every year you grow older and wiser, you're still evolving and changing. We need to release what no longer serves us on our path forward. And so, especially during seasons where we see a lot of people who are going without and having a little bit of a harder time, we see our neighbors having more than us, and we look at them like, why can't that be our lives? And that's that sort of egoic need to be better and compete, which is very much a sort of a shadow masculine trait of competition. Divine masculinity is having that stability and wisdom with finding comfort in what you have rather than competing for what others have or what they want. Because what others want is not always what we want, is it? It's what we think we want. We just want to keep up with the neighbors, make sure we have that fancy car, have those brightest lights on our porch, and then what does that do for our soul? Does it really bring us joy? Because there's always going to be someone, at least in the perspective of the ego, who was better than us. And so we make these choices that bring us further away from our higher self and our light. And so turning this shadow to light, what makes you happy and brings you joy is going to make you more successful and more abundant because it's just you. It's just what you want, not what society says you should want. And there's where you find a lot of peace. And yeah, that is the biggest sort of struggle I have been feeling in the collective lately. This keeps coming up in my own personal readings. I see this happening. Everybody's going through a little bit of a tough time, and it's not our fault. We tend to want to run in the direction of the crowd. It's normal. It's It's not easy to reconnect with yourself when there's so many distractions. There's a need to distract. And so let's see what we have for any sort of advice to deal with this shadow at this time. Oh, I'm already getting let go and let God. That, yeah, okay. Ooh, no, yeah, that's definitely it. There's definitely a need to be present in the moment and ground yourself. So there is this air of competition. There's this feeling of don't settle for the path of resistance, but let's more so don't fight it. You don't need to be doing so much or taking on so much. It's less is more, slow and steady, taking it easy and enjoying what you have in front of you. We put so much on our plates, we put so much ambition, which is not a bad thing, but we have to reevaluate. Is it what we want? If you're working so hard and it doesn't bring you joy, and I'm not talking about responsibilities, I'm talking about the extra work you put in. For what? For a goal, for a thing you want to achieve that isn't necessarily meant for you. It's something you think you want, but the world tells you you want. It's like if you have a really nice car, let's say, it runs just fine, maybe as a few, miles on it more than you'd want to, but it's fine. And then you see your neighbor with the new car, or you see an advertisement for a car, and you're like, I want that. No, I need that. So you work twice as hard, saving up that money, committing to something that you might not need, but you feel like you need it in that moment. Why does that bring you joy? You have something there. What could be worth more than a new vehicle? Perhaps investing in yourself. You could be spending that money on something that actually brings you joy, rather than going after something new and shiny. Reinventing yourself, taking a class you never were able to take when you were younger, but now you have money. Like committing to something because it's new, because others do, because you've been convinced that you need it. That might not bring you as much joy. Maybe until that new car gets old. Sure. Maybe it will last a few years, but that joy will run out because it was built on this foundation of insincerity. It was not something you wanted. It was something that somewhere out there you were convinced you wanted. And there are a lot of things in our life we sort of add on to our workload that are very draining, and it's for not a cause that is necessary to our growth, but for the sake of competition. And that's a lot of that rise and grind mindset, that very much shadow masculine aspect of needing to go out there, not settling, but not settling in a way that evokes like the worst in us. So one of the biggest pieces of advice right now, you're going out there and you're seeing the world falling apart, your first instinct is to want to cover up that sadness within, that dread, that misery with a shiny new thing. A shiny new thing. Make sure when you're seeking out those shiny things that they spark that light within you. And it's something you want. It's something that's going to bring you that joy, that sense of stability. Otherwise, you're just chasing after a nightmare rather than a dream. You're chasing after a shadow rather than your light. And it's easy to be tricked by shadows. They're everywhere. It's easy to be tricked by people who say they have your best interest at heart. But when you really peek behind the curtain, that might not be the case, and that's unfortunate. And remember, those people are just acting on their own sensibility, their own place of understanding, and it's not their fault either, but being swayed by what is normal and what is right in the eyes of a world that is very much hurting, very much needing that love and patience and that slow down. We all could use a little bit of time away from needing to get up and do the next thing, be better every single day to the point where we end up collapsing, when it could be a lot simpler to go after what truly feels within your soul and your heart of hearts is right and best for you. Now let's look at this card. Yeah, okay. There's a lot of heaviness in the collective right now. I'm so sorry. Someone hasn't been very fair. A lot of people are getting hurt. The biggest grief I feel is this inevitable wave of change we are seeing. And that, it hurts, you know. It hurts, and you kind of have to grieve it first before you can really. I just felt this very, there's this heaviness in my chest right now. Like my heart feels like there's a weight on it. Mother Earth is grieving too. The Divine Mother breathes through all of us. She loves us dearly. When she sees her children suffering, she suffers too. We all need the Divine Mother to hold us and soothe us. And raindrops falling from the shores of the divine, flowing down over me. She sees us, all of us, and she smiles. But I see the spirit of the Divine Mother and Mother Earth holding us in her heart, grieving, because there is a lot going on. And she wants you to know, no matter what happens, no matter what changes happen, it's going to be okay. Whoever's out there in the world thinking they're alone, wandering this world, their feet touch the ground and she feels you. You leave a footprint on her soil and on her trees and in the air. She touches you gently with her spirit. Breathe in the love that surrounds you. It's within all of us. We are all connected. And that's why we all feel this way on some level in our own ways of understanding. It might be subconscious, it might be not. We all connected by this divine love. And I think that's why there's so much pain. There's this want to love and a will to love, the desire to love. to enjoy life. And the pain comes when we don't know how. We were never taught how. We were taught how to work. We were taught how to be productive, but we were not taught how to love. Many, many souls here were never taught how to love, to give it, to receive it, to become it. It's a grief that a lot of people go through without realizing it. A heavy distortion around what love is. And so we are all grieving it. This is the Nine of Swords. And there's that heaviness in the heart that's a dagger running right through. Oh my goodness, yes. So let's breathe through this for a moment, because there's a lot of energy running through this right now. And I want to get it out because Mama has a lot to say. Like, she is with me right here. I'm seeing Mother Earth. She's wearing a flower crown. And she's holding me in her hands and holding her heart. And I actually feel I felt this heaviness in my chest. And then I felt this light and the sense of love. Like the soothing energy. One of the ways spirit or any sort of entities I channel manifest through me is in the heart space. And it feels like this glowing, beautiful white light. It's soothing. It's like cool. It's like my heart is being submerged in this pool of calm, clear, crystal water. And I'm sending that love to whoever's watching. Clear crystal waters of the divine. And this blue light in me. Send this peace, love, and understanding to those in need, those who wish to breathe in that love, to reconnect with that divine mother, divine child within them, to reconnect with aspects of their soul they might have lost, to ground within themselves. Spirit, is there anything else? Okay, there's one more thing he's trying to get through. Divine timing and patience. When the world changes, it forces us to reevaluate all aspects of our life, the decisions we made, to face them head on. In times of crisis, we seek faith. It's not always that easy, but when the time comes, we know it's time to change. And the choice is ours to make. It's in our hands, always. Even when it doesn't feel like we have a choice, even when it doesn't feel like it, we always choose how we react, the moves we make, how we love, and our very actions are still ours, even as the world falls down around you. May your inner divinity lead you to the best choices for your highest good in your light. Your faith will guide you through your heart. And breathe. That breath, that pause between inhale and exhale, that moment of the sweet soul distillation from the core of the divine source that guides and empowers us all. We find a chance to break free limitations of our own mind, from the chains of this world we no longer need to wear. In our minds, we can find that freedom. It is a choice we can always make. And never shame yourself for going after those vices. There was a time and place where they served you for your safety. But when moments of change fall upon us, those vices, those chains, they cannot come with us. When we are rising higher, we rise above it. So for the time and place you are rising to, I pray that all you who wish for your highest light break free from the chains. I pray you find that courage to make a choice, to choose your joy and your happiness, no matter what darkness this world might bring. You choose to react with compassion and love. Feel your feelings, honor them, and let them go. For all that serves you waits on the other side of these ruins. You break down to rebuild, light in and shadow out. As the seasons change, so do we. And on the brighter side of things, we find our joy. Now I'm going to pick one more card. I'm going to ask Spirit to find us a beacon of hope at the end of this. Okay. So what joy, what happiness will we see once we release these shadows that bind us, once we breathe out and breathe in that light? What can we expect on the other side of this? Okay, yeah, I see that. We have a lot of emotional fulfillment when we release what no longer serves us. When we follow our heart and our soul and our passion, we take care of our responsibilities and we let go of what is not our responsibility. The opinions, the desires of others, the weight of the world, the emotions, the limitations we put on ourselves, whatever that might be. When we let go of those things and follow our true joy, we find the strength, we find the people, the places, the activities. We find what brings us most fulfillment. We take care of what we must and let go of what we mustn't. We take on the emotions of others who only fill our cups. We take on the things in our lives that bring us that sense of stability, that sense of peace. And when we can't find peace, because perhaps our responsibilities, perhaps the things that we need to atone for, they might not bring the most joy or balance in our life. But even so, in doing what you must for what it is meant for you to do, will always be on your path. We find strength through the severity, through the complications of life, and the burdens we cannot release. If you have family who's sick, if you have children you're raising, even if it's not your choice, even if you have responsibilities that you have no choice but to bear. Find the strength in releasing and surrendering the discomfort and whatever feelings of resentment or any uncomfortable feelings, let's say. Release that to the divine, to source. Ask for help. Pray for strength every day. And find that sense of balance in your life. In places where you might be lacking and you have no choice but to be involved, to do what you must, as uncomfortable as it might be. You find the ones that bring you light and joy, a sense of balance and peace. Everybody's journey is different. And speak to your soul, sit with yourself, ask yourself, what serves me and what does not? And you will find your blessings. You will find a blessing of this joy and inner peace, a zest for life, passion again, enjoying your life and what you do because it's true to you. And while you see the challenges, you overcome them by relying on that inner peace. No matter what you have in your life, no matter where you go, you keep that inside of you because you're free from the restraints of a world that might be guiding you in a way that is not truly you, deep down. And on the other side of this is just the strength to be able to do what's right by you and the ones around you. No matter what you have in your life, the circumstances, and what your gifts might be. If you're connected to the divine or just to your family or your home, you find the strength to be able to overcome challenges, whatever they may be, whatever might face you with that sense of anger and despair. The light, the blessings that light might bring, the ability to overcome any challenge and obstacle with that peace in your heart and knowing you have the ability to find joy in whatever might be as it is, not how you would want it to be, but as it is. And of course, we have emotional fulfillment and reciprocity and equality in a give and take relationship, but a give and take relationship of true love and abundance, an abundance mindset of whatever is meant for me will always find me, and what is not will fall through. And I cherish what is mine, and I nurture and cherish others as well. And in that abundance mindset, we have the law of attraction playing out, for it is truly what you wish to receive and truly what you have to give that brings in that ever-flowing love and joy. And what we pass out always comes in. And when we release that love and joy to the universe from a place of true, unconditional compassion, that always comes back to us in the way our soul most needs. and a fulfillment that runs deeper than just the material in front of you. Stability, desires rekindle from within. The universe doesn't replenish all the needs of the earth with material alone. The universe replenishes the needs of the earth with air and light and water and the seasons and the changes all around us, subtle. And we might be indifferent to them. We might not even notice those subtle changes, but God sees what we need most. Source sees. Source knows us more than we even know him or ourselves. We always receive exactly what it is we need to align us with our higher light. For when we breathe that darkness into the universe, a mirror of darkness shines a light on our face and says, do you really want to follow me into the abyss? Do you want to follow me into nothingness and destruction? Or will you see your shadow in love? Will you choose to turn the tide? Will you choose to clean the stagnant waters of your soul? And when we listen to the subtle vibrations of the universe, we find ourselves in alignment with the divine. And so even when shadow falls upon us, we see that as a hidden aspect of ourselves we did not know we need to release. And we didn't know we even put that out there. When we release light and accept it in return, that is what we will see. Even in the awareness of this darkness, because you cannot unsee it once you do. But in time and in turn, you'll react to it much differently. Despite the darkness, you'll react with light and love. And that's the message I have for you today. Lovely watchers, wanderers, light's most fair. I grant you a blessing from the divine that wherever you go in life, you choose what is right for you. Know that you are loved and cared for by the divine source most high, watching over us through our lives and as we travel this world. Thank you for stopping by today, and happy holidays.